call this meeting regular council meeting to order November 19th, 2019 here at City Hall. Before we get started, I'd like to ask everyone to please refrain from engaging in side conversations while we are covering each topic. Additions to the agenda. Are there any additions to the agenda?
I would request at least one 10-minute executive session. We can amend the agenda if we need more.
This is for...
Not elected personnel.
So moved.
I have a motion on the table. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor? Motion passes. Okay, are there any citizens' comments this evening? Consent agenda. Approved minutes for regular council meeting November 5th, 2019 and land bank meeting November 5th, 2019.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. Appropriation ordinance 11-19-19 in the amount of $20,748.38 and petty cash of $332.70. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second. I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. All right. Okay. Department heads. Do we have anything from Jeff?
Yes.
Okay.
I left my note over here. He is requesting to extend the camera company that came in. He's requesting to extend 350 feet at Chris Mansell's property to the west, because we've been having issues right in there and they didn't put that on the initial map.
For how much?
350 feet.
And the dollar figure. Don't know, I guess.
I would have to go back and look at how much they're charging
That
for
was,
Per foot.
what was it, $1.70 a foot or something, was it?
10,000.
10,000 foot and
Yeah.
17,000.
Yeah,
$1.70 a foot. Well, they're here,
I guess.
yeah.
Um,
We gotta approve that? We gotta make a motion for that?
Without spending authority?
I'm sure
That was gonna have to
$1.70.
be.
$2,600.
Yeah,
Per
that's
sheet.
right, I didn't use it, yeah.
Okay. And on that topic, if you guys have been down First Street, the camera company helped us locate a main line that was damaged, we believe, when they were putting in the fiber optics 8 months to a year ago. And so there, in one spot, there's literally this much ground. So they're over there working on that, and I think they're gonna try to cave everything in and get it to a solid foundation again. So that's what they'll be working on. And I think that's it for Jeff.
Okay. Do we have anything from Public Utility Supervisor?
Jason, no.
What about Public Works Supervisor David?
David said the signs actually got shipped today. Let me make sure. The signs got shipped and they don't want to work on the bus. When they took it up to Salina, they are not willing to move forward on that. So,
You mean, we didn't describe it right, or just, they don't know what's wrong with it, or they do and they don't wanna touch it, or all the above?
I'm telling you what I know. I can find
Okay.
out more if you'd like. I don't know what they told them. I didn't set up the appointment.
Right, I hear you, I get it.
You can find out more on that because I'm interested in finding out what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
So they brought it back, or?
Yeah, it's back. And along the bus, we had a driver get into a little bit of a situation. I think he said it was last week. I got a text message, and I think that they said the door wasn't working properly, and he ran into the door. So it messed up the door a little bit, but
The garage door.
right. So I don't think that it's like needing completely fixed or replaced. Like it still seals and they bent it back to where it shuts. So I do know that he's questioning if he wants to keep it inside with the different drivers. So, and it's on my list to look into the action plan if an accident occurs while driving the bus. What happens after that? So
Who, one of our employees
No.
driving the bus?
no, people can, like community members can use it. So I just don't know the steps, I guess, of.
They take care of that through us. I mean, we control the bus, correct?
So I
Should
just
be
wanna-
As long as you allow them to drive it, should be covered.
right, I just mean, is it?
Do you continue to
Do you
allow
continue
them-
to allow him to take the bus after? I mean, I wasn't there, so I don't know, but
You're thinking about creating a blacklist, that's what you mean.
You probably either
I have
have
one.
them allow the drive, continue driving the bus or drive it yourself. Or have somebody else hired
Jen,
drive it.
I don't
so.
know if you know this or not, but there's only 24 hours in the day. You really enjoy volunteering my time.
Well, I think we continue letting them drive the bus, is my point.
Yeah.
Because I think everybody in the city's already got a load.
Not
Is there
let them
damage to
park
the
it.
bus, you know, or just? the
Not that
door?
I'm aware of, just the door.
I'd just like them to let the door open before they drive the bus.
From my understanding, the door.
Supposedly the door come down in the middle of him pulling it in. I looked at the door and it's just the bottom panel, and Jeff said it was like $1,300 to replace the two panels, and I said it's on the back of the building, it's straight, I'd leave it alone. I mean, it didn't damage the frame, it just kinda
Right,
crinkled
right,
the
right.
panel.
Anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay, moving on. Grant Administrator, Lisa.
Jamie asked me to look into semi-parking, grants for semi-parking. We could do a USDA Communities Facilities grant for that. But all they would pay is 15% and the rest would be a loan because we're at 89% of the state's median household income. Is that correct? That was the number I
Is it?
found.
Yeah. If we have to go off of the census data, it's next
It's
to
89%.
It's next to impossible to.
To get anything, and so that's not a very good grant. And then the other one is the KDOT cost share program, and we can either do a 15% match or a 25% match on that, and it's really heavily wanted. And so if we could do a 25% match, it would be better, and it's due, it comes out again in March and it's due in February. And so that might be something that you'd want to look at. But you know, first you'd have to figure out where you're going to do it and what the plan is, and we'd need all that information before we can write a grant.
What was that one through again?
It's KDOT, it's a cost share program,
And that's becoming available in March of next year.
due in February. They just did a round. They just had a bunch of grants come out in October, and so that's their next round.
Do you know what their requirements will be? And the reason my
Requirements
query
as of
is,
what, for our plan, or?
my query is, we built the sidewalk to nowhere.
Mhm.
We got this huge grant for it.
Mhm.
And we had to pay for the engineers.
Mhm.
And then they built a sidewalk within 3 feet of oak and maple trees, which anybody that's ever poured a sidewalk does not build a sidewalk next to maple trees. So my query is, by the time you jump through all their hoops, are you really gaining anything?
75% of your total project money.
Well, but your project money may
Minus-
have increased by 75% to
It may
get
have.
25.
Right.
I mean, I don't know.
What their stipulations are, I guess. Yeah.
I think
I can
the
give
council
you-
should review
I can,
their requirements.
I can print that off for you and have that in your packages. I can have Jamie put that in there
Perfect.
for you. And then that are nice, school crossing zone signs that we've been waiting on for 18 months, 36 months, 23 years, I don't know what it is. Last time I talked to her was October 11th, and yep, we're still right in the queue, but she doesn't have them yet, so that's kind of the, I'll be really surprised when we get that. Our Safe Route to School plan, that was turned in and approved, and we can apply for any of that next October, or up to 2023. Our plan will be good for if we ever want to do that. And I had a request for bulletproof vest grants and a drug dog grant. And the bulletproof vest grants would take 8 to 10 hours, and the drug dog grant would take 12 to 18. Do you have interest in those, or would you like to see the request for proposal before you look at that?
I think we need to see the request for proposal before we make any decision on that.
All right. I'll get those to Jamie. And then I sent a request for $36,000 worth of play equipment to Golden Belt Foundation. Laura Davis chose the equipment and did kind of the legwork on that. So I finally got that up there, and I haven't heard back from them. So that's all I have. Do you have anything here? I mean, I haven't been coming because you said you really didn't have money to match, and so I just kind of been laying low till she called me.
Anybody have any questions? Okay.
Playground, is it for school or for public?
It's Brown Park.
For Brown Park.
It's that, the
It's like a
old wood
wooden-
playground equipment that's on the north side of the park. We tear that out and then put this up.
It's all rotten and
Splintery for kids. Yeah,
Okay, thank you, Lisa.
you're welcome.
Okay, moving on. Is there anything from police chief?
yes. Alan called earlier this afternoon and said they passed all of the certifications. So it's, I don't know the right word for, I mean, it's a full action dog. He said, what is it called? No.
Good boy.
The
Certified
dog's
in
certified in everything, narcotics, bite.
Narcotics, bite, tracking,
Tracking.
evidence recovery,
Yeah.
and I think he said a few other ones that I didn't get.
Good.
So
Good.
he's hoping to be done by Friday and make his 10-hour journey home. So,
That's it? Okay. Anything from fire chief?
unless you have something.
This is a side note, back to Chief, sorry. Has he got any applicants, have you heard?
Oh, yeah.
Not that I am aware of.
Okay. All right, Jamie. City administrator.
Mm-hmm.
What you got?
Report, everything's updated?
We painted
on
the office. Everything's in my report. I was gone last week. Pam's gone this week and most of next week. So I'm playing catch up yesterday and today, and got payroll done and working on meter readings, and we'll get bills out next week or the following Monday. Not really sure yet on that one. But yeah, we're just getting everything squared away in here.
Anybody have any questions regarding the administrator report? Okay. City attorney, John.
Nothing.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for John? All right, we're looking at old business. Does anybody have any business regarding anything, any questions regarding old business on any of the topics on
I
that?
do on West Street, and it's more just so that the rest of the council can drive by. We're gonna have to do more work to West Street, Southwest Street. If you go down and look on the east side, every dirt road that comes up to it is starting to get washed out because there's nowhere for the water to go. And I think before long, you're gonna have big old holes on the streets that come headed west and getting onto West Street, because right now, it's a hump up on there. And so that water on the east side of all of West Street, when it can't get over that hump and drain, it just sits there and they just beat the corners out of it, turning and going both directions. So I think there's gonna have to be more work done on West Street to get that water.
You're going to need to put a ditch on both sides and put
And-
culverts in each driveway. Is the
What-
only way to fix it.
And my thing
That was
is,
supposed to be the plan from
my
the
thing
get-go.
is there's gonna have to be a ditch on each side, now whether it drains or whether it just holds the water, one of the two. But you can't leave it sit in the street.
No, and if, to get that accomplished, somebody's gonna have to come to Jesus meeting with some people that work for the city.
Well, I'm just telling you, it's, and
Because
if you guys go down and,
Did
I
I
want you to go
mention
look at it because it's getting really bad right now.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I mean,
do
it's
too.
getting really bad.
Lately.
And I've had 4 or 5 people say, you know, it's kinda rough when you take a car and turn onto West Street going north or south and you gotta go through a hump and then up and onto the road.
Really?
So,
It'll require culverts and ditches.
But
I
it's-
don't know how that's gonna get handled and done correctly. I mean, we've struggled trying to do that ourselves, whether we have to hire it done.
well, like I
Was-
said, I don't know.
Get some help.
Was that not the initial request?
Correct. That's
Yeah.
right.
It was.
Yeah.
We have a ditch probably, what, 100 yards north of the railroad track on the east side and that's it?
Oh, yeah, I don't even know if I'd call it a ditch, but yeah.
But, I mean, it's
What it used to
something-
be,
Right.
right, yeah.
There's some people that own property on the east side that really do not want a ditch on their property.
It's our right of way and we can take it and do what we please with it. And that's what needs to be done. Because that road will, we're just creating more problems for us,
Oh, definitely.
so.
And some of those people may be involved in getting the job done.
That's why I was just trying to figure out who over there would actually say something about that, but it's only one.
Right. I don't,
Is he drain the water back to the south?
I don't really care where the water drains,
Right. Just trying.
as long as it stays out of the middle of the dirt roads.
Right.
Cause it, I mean,
Once
It
you
wouldn't be
once
as
you get the
bad.
ditches, the water will get away better.
it wouldn't be
on the
near as
road.
bad.
And you need a
and-
crown on the road.
You wouldn't notice it near as bad if it got drug every 6 months.
Yeah.
But
Frequently.
it's not gonna, it's way noticeable just because it doesn't get maintained on any stretch of the other.
So that's from, they just, if they get drugged more, you wouldn't notice.
well, you're still gonna notice it.
No, I know, but I mean, it would.
I mean, you're gonna notice it on those streets when you come up to West Street from the east.
Because the water's backed up on those streets because it can no longer get to the
It
west
can't,
and never
well,
go to
because
the
it's
north
been
or
built
south.
from, it's been built from the west to the east, and when you
Mhm.
build it this way, and you have a road that's lower, the water can't get over that hump.
And the water's not gonna come over the top of the road no matter what, because the water has to go in ditches and go
Right.
north to the storm sewer on the north or south to the railroad. It's the only way it's gonna go. And it looks like if you put a transit on, about half of it goes north and half
Half
of it
of
goes
it's gonna go
south.
south. I'm just telling you, probably by March of next year, if we have any moisture over the winter time, those other dirt roads are gonna be so beat out that it's gonna take even more work to fix them. So,
Somebody else gets to come on this seat.
Okay. Anything
something that I
else?
guess we need to address.
Right.
Can we remove the engine for power plant off of business? I mean, we all kind of agreed we're not gonna be spending $750,000 anytime in the near future. Didn't we?
I have no objection.
I'm fine with that.
Take it
Taking
off.
that off.
Yeah.
The
You
street
guys-
signs with a little left by next time,
Truck
we'll be able to take them
parking.
off.
We need to talk about the utility truck, the email that I sent you guys with the numbers.
I had a question on that.
$4,300 or so
Boy, how'd I miss that one?
It was this morning.
yesterday.
Um,
Oh, that's how I missed that one.
Adding the four-wheel drive for a difference of $3,815.34 plus
Plus the fif-
the $500 to swap the bed.
$4,300.
the 38 includes the MSRP and the four-wheel drive option both.
Correct.
Yep, yep.
Plus tax.
And we
And
can do it,
43
we can
to-
do it right away. I mean, if four-wheel drive's available now, Uh-huh.
I don't know if it said that.
Is a four-wheel drive available now?
I mean, I don't know that it's gonna be like right away.
Yeah.
I asked him to put the timeline in there of what he could, but with GM still just getting back, he said it's better, but it's not.
Yeah, I find it easier here in years to come if we keep doing this to get them to do it a little bit quicker, maybe if they have a four-wheel drive that we're gonna trade in instead of a two-wheel drive 314.
See, I'm wondering if it's just because it's two-wheel drive that is holding it up.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, cause they pump, I mean, this time of year, they have 2019 four-wheel drive, or
He-
2020 four-wheel
He did
drives.
say that it will take longer with the two-wheel drive
Yeah.
because no one, like, people don't want that,
Yeah, it's hard for him, so,
especially in our area.
Plus tax.
yeah, plus tax.
So do we pay tax on the difference, or do we pay tax on the whole entire
I
price?
think you meant the difference.
Yeah, it's
The
different.
difference.
Just the
Yeah.
difference of 38.15?
That's the way that I.
Are we paying tax because of the department which this goes to?
It's the electric department, so it's a income
Tax, it's a-
generating.
Tax generating, income generating part of the city.
I think for $4,300, you can't
Yeah,
go
that's
wrong.
right. I, make a motion that we approve trading our 2017 or 18? Jason's utility truck and upgrading it to a four-wheel drive for the difference of $38.15.34 plus $500 for swapping the bed over and tax on the difference at, or with Jeff Bryan.
Okay, that'd be about $340 with tax.
Second.
Sales tax is, yeah, second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second on the table. Any more discussion? All in favor? All opposed?
Oh, well, that was
Question.
too fast.
Didn't you say that some people are dragging their feet about this because they can't mount their computers and things in the truck, in a new truck, if they're going to trade it all the time?
Well, the story has changed at least 3 times, yes.
I don't care, we just made a motion, we just bought a truck.
I'm fine with it.
Okay.
They can
That's a heck of a
survive.
thing to
But-
complain about getting a new pickup every year.
But
That motion's already been
I am
made.
gonna
Okay, motion
talk to
carries.
him about that.
Okay.
We've talked about this for how many months now?
Mm-hmm.
It's never
Email
been
a timeline, Jamie.
Yeah.
Okay, any other discussion regarding anything else on
Can we
all this?
save paperwork
Excuse me?
from this
Truck
transaction
parking.
this time?
Oh,
Hold on,
Yeah,
can we
I'm
take
handling
the
everything.
utility truck off now? Everybody okay with removing the utility truck?
Can we leave it on until we get the timeline of when the new one's coming?
Yep, that's fine. Okay.
okay, Jim, you want to talk about the truck parking?
Did you not
Yes.
tell me that there was another site offered?
Yeah, in your report, Carolyn, when I reached out to Carolyn and Lisa about the options for the truck parking, Carolyn brought up the
Lot behind
land
the grocery store.
behind the grocery store.
Who owns that?
Economic development.
All of it?
Just to the driveway that goes north and south, like off Fifth Street, there's a driveway that goes north,
Mm-hmm.
all the way up to that, I believe. Is that right?
Okay.
Yeah, because I think that I don't know the guy's name that owns the other.
I didn't know, at one time Chad owned all that, some of that.
Right, I think that
I don't know if
yeah,
he
when the grocery
donated
store
all of it.
project happened, I think that economic development.
Yeah, he gave some, I don't know
I think he
how much he
gifted it.
gave.
Right.
He told me they had that lot to the west, but I guess I didn't ask him all the way to the driveway. I
Yeah,
assume
because
that's
I
what
knew
it
there
is.
was a certain portion of it that was economic developments, but I didn't think all of it.
But I told her
for
I
the
didn't know
driveway.
I didn't know how big it needed to be, or so.
Well, we were looking out at the industrial park, or what I call the industrial park, and we were wanting 425 by 300 is what we were thinking.
Yeah.
But somebody was telling, are you the one who measured it?
Yeah.
It's
what-
200 by 300,
200 east to west, 300 north to south.
so about literally half, or 2/3, I guess. But, and the access is what's gonna be the problem when you cut down the space, in my opinion. I mean, I like the idea of it,
the location.
but the access, turning in there and getting back straight, I think is a problem.
Behind the grocery store?
Correct.
Who
Well,
owns?
and if you guys remember when they were building the grocery store, do you know what kind of swamp that was
Right.
back there?
Right.
That thing held water for months on end.
Yep.
I mean, it'd have
Who
to,
owns to the
it's
west
gonna
of
take
that?
just a,
Sandy Creek.
Okay, that's it.
it's gonna take just as much rock there as it would
Yeah.
Ryan,
anywhere
who
else.
owns that?
Way out to the west of it, like there's a driveway that I assume Chad owns, and then the west of that, Sam Chrisman owns a shed. That's kind of that driveway there.
I guess we
Yeah.
could look at it. I don't know
I
how
don't
to
know how you
measure
I
it.
don't think you have enough space.
I don't know how you keep it separate as far as, you know, if someone from the grocery store off the highway pulled in that wants to go to the grocery store, you know, and there's a bunch of trucks parked there, or, I don't know how you keep it separate. There's really gonna be enough room, there's all those trucks parked there from the city, if we have trucks parking out there.
I like the idea, but I think
Regardless.
it's just half the space. It's just not enough. But I guess it's worth looking at. We can meet out there and look at it.
I think it's worth looking at, it's just,
Yeah.
I don't see how you can really get what we want out of that small space,
Correct.
so, okay. Anything else on the old business?
Joanne Moody's lot has been brought up, and the last numbers that she gave out was $20,000 to $25,000 if she'd even be willing. I don't know if that space is big enough.
I'm just not in favor of it, I mean, you guys can do what you want, but I'm just not in favor of parking trucks on the main road that comes into St. John.
I agree completely. I don't know what the measurements are, whether it's big enough or not, but I just don't think that's where you put a truck lot, in my opinion. But again, I'm only one vote.
I did talk to Chad, went up there to the north of the water treatment plant where we talked about putting the truck lot. And he talked about if they would grade it to all of it to the north, they could grade it, kind of pack it, thought he could get that done for $5,000. Then you start hauling truckloads in there, I think he told me 30 truckloads, maybe 800 or
30 to 40
30 to 40, yeah.
is what he told me.
Start out
That
with.
he would guesstimate, but he said he
No, I
would.
told you, yeah.
Yeah, I
So I was
Somewhere
trying to think
50
if
to
it- Been a
1,000
little
ton.
while, but yeah,
yeah.
$800 a truckload.
32
$30,000, pretty much, yeah. So just an idea.
He said, I thought the 5,000 was fairly reasonable,
Yeah.
and he said he
Yeah.
thought the same thing we did. We do have some natural elevation there. He thinks we have a decent amount of dirt already there in place to just get our grade.
To do all the, get the
Correct.
grade in place.
He thinks we have enough, which is what we already all said. But he told me, and which is the same thing we talked about, is just start in at the road and just spread the rock as thin as you can and bring it to the south and then just see where you're at. I mean, he said it's so hard to guess about. I mean, you might do 30 loads and think you're there, and you might wind up at 50. But the key is, same thing we all said, start thin, and
Right.
you need that 75% match or 75% coverage, 25% match that Lisa's talking about, and then we need a pile of millings and try to get our inputs down where we can handle them, and then do it.
He did say, yeah, for sure, the big rock to put in there first, you know, after they get it packed.
I suspect in order to get the grant, you're going to have an engineering
I imagine
study,
that's right. Yeah, that's right.
which
I
may
agree.
equal your cost of the
Right,
building construction.
That's right. If you could get Chad to do that, or Kansas Dirt, and then if you could have a whole pile of millings that we are capable of getting, if we will do it, that you can donate for free for a base, and keep your money in-house, I think it'll all come together way better than we think, in my opinion. But there's a couple key elements there that have to happen. I still think it's a goal that needs to work towards. We can't complain about all the trucks driving down and then not give them a place to park. It's one way or the other, in my opinion.
And I've heard from some of the truck drivers that I do tires for, and they're all about it.
Right.
They don't have an issue with parking their truck out there.
Yeah.
Some of
I
their
had a
concerns
couple
was
calls.
lighting and possibility of having some cameras out there just,
Right,
but you know, I mean, we've got the capability of doing that, we do it now.
right.
But lighting, being able to plug their truck in, some of them said they weren't up for paying for it because they already pay for it at their house, but you know, then some of them said, you know, it don't make any difference to us.
Yeah.
You know, paying to be able to plug their vehicle in, their truck in.
And the cameras, I've been working with Randy to get cameras, the cameras at the tree dump fixed, because they go off all the time, and then motion cameras at the power plant, and then some around here in our other locations, because we have money through our insurance, and we can use that for, like safety and stuff like that.
Surveillance.
So I could,
Insurance will pretty much pay for the systems, cameras are towards them.
so I can, Randy and I are trying to discuss like how many we need and how many spots. He likes to cover a few more spots just in case. Like he's been working at the courthouse, and you know, they started with X amount and now they're kind of to the point where they're like, oh, I wish we would have added a few more in, because there's just spots once it's,
Trying to cover every blind spot that they can. Okay.
so that can be an option for that part of it.
Okay, any more discussion?
Whit Center repairs. Your samples are behind you with price tags on them.
I think you can just leave that one out. $4 a square foot.
Don't
Yeah.
don't scratch my paint. Make it come off.
So what's the, so is it like the top one's a good, middle one's better, and bottom one's best? Or is that just colors?
Sorry? It is a nice ugly carpet right here, isn't it?
I mean, I'm just gonna assume you probably on the walls, you want dark, kids rubbing their hands across their oil, I mean, it's
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
get dirty, you know, so it may look kinda, you know.
So what, the one still in the
I
corner?
don't know. No, I grabbed that again, Marsh.
Well, I'm not up for putting $4 a square foot on the wall. I mean, I like the
So-
dollar something price better.
Yeah, I
Middle
mean,
one? That's probably too dark.
too dark, yeah.
Do these meet all of the requirements? Is it that one thing we,
This is not the fire.
This is
retardant.
residential carpet.
Yeah. Because he quoted us the first time for the fire retardant.
Is that required?
According to him and his building regulations, like that's the standard building, like when it's a public building, a community building, they suggest having that. But, I mean, he said we can sign a waiver pretty much stating that we understand the liability, and
I'm sure it's fire retardant in there right now from 50 years ago.
Right.
I know it's been brought up, there's like spray you can use to
I like the middle
to
one.
make it fire.
Yeah.
That's a big
That's my
deal.
vote right there.
There's even a roller kind that you can use. The fire marshal told us about it, how it can use. We sprayed on the curtains out there. It's good for rugs and everything else. And I think we had to spray it twice at the very beginning, and then you have to set up a maintenance schedule on it, and it's every, I believe, 3 years that you have to reapply it. Unless it's washed in between.
And we ain't gonna be able to put this on the floor out there out front though.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm thinking, I mean, the floor in the lobby's gonna have to be something thin, right?
I think it's all glued now.
Well, I think they require that for wheelchairs, though. I don't think a wheelchair.
Yeah,
would be on.
that's what I'm thinking,
That's not a good wheelchair
Well-
material or
yeah.
I
carpet.
guess my
I mean, I'm
question,
thinking
why
on
would
the
you
wall.
put tile on the floor where you have kids and soft drinks? Instead of putting tile, why would you put carpet on the floor? Instead tile or polished concrete?
Why, because roller skates are going out there.
Yeah,
all
I
over
think it's
their
just a safety factor, I guess, slow them down once they're out there, I don't know, getting their skates on and off. Sound, I don't know.
I enjoyed the polished concrete, but didn't think about the safety factor.
Right.
I can tell you if you've ever spilt water on polished concrete and stepped on it,
It's slick.
you're in for a rude
Right,
awakening.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that middle one.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, you know, on the walls, but as far as the floor, none piece.
That middle one is probably a nice thick one for when the kids go banging into it, as they will.
And you want that colored?
Yeah, I'm good with that color.
The middle one and that same color. Okay. And what? I
Check
guess
on some thinner ones
do you really need a pad under that?
on the walls. I don't.
Usually on handicap accessible stuff, you can't have a pad. I mean, like I said, it's the thin stuff.
Well,
without
on the
pad.
walls.
Yeah, I don't. We don't.
We
need
don't need
that.
I don't think so.
I think it's all gonna be glue on, so I don't know if there's,
Okay.
are we doing the rec director's office?
No.
So we're just doing the main lobby floor?
They ever get back with something they want to contribute?
They had a meeting last night.
Do you have a total dollar cost on this project? Nick?
Well,
Gotta
once
pick
we
the carpet first.
once we get the carpet picked out next year, we'll get a total price.
Then figure out how to pay for it.
Yep,
Um,
that's the rub.
the stuff on the floor, do you wanna kinda go back with what's on there, about the same color?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
just
that-
a-
Just,
yeah.
yeah, we can
I mean,
just
you don't
tell-
want that light either. I mean,
Yeah.
you want it kind of dark.
You want it a little bit darker than what it is right now.
I
You
mean,
just
I
wanna
would-
give me the authority to pick out that carpet? Or tell Ben what we want and have him just,
And
Get
then
the-
put a final
You
list.
could bring it into this
Yeah.
century.
The thing is, you're gonna want carpet about like what's in here, this is just
Yeah, there you
glued
go.
down carpet.
like what's over
But
here.
you want something darker.
Yeah.
Yeah, the stains show up here. Okay.
And, I mean, I don't know if we sure don't need to spend $4 a square foot on it.
Okay, it's Anderson.
It's like $1.64.
So there is 3 selections on, or is that 3?
Well, like this one, it says good, better, and best, and I don't know if that's,
That's just what it says up top. So like the cathedral, you see it up top on the by the handle. It says good, better, and best. And he gave me 3 prices.
uh,
And then the Anderson has 1, 2, and 3 with 3 prices.
So the middle one is $1.64.
I mean, being on the walls, if we're putting them out on the walls, you don't have to go with a high-grade carpet. It's not like it's getting much of traffic, it's just getting.
So we could probably
Right.
go with the lowest price
And, the
and
other
ask
color.
if we can do the other color.
Correct.
Middle color at
I'm
138.
okay with that.
Still gotta get an estimate. Find out where the money's coming from.
Find out what we've got.
Oh, we have money.
Okay.
It needs, it deserves it.
You have a 1% sales tax out there that can.
Okay, any more discussion?
Business?
All right, moving on to new business. Is there any new business? Okay, want to go ahead and just turn it to land bank right now? All right, during this regular meeting of council at 7:38.
John, I hope you're ready. Call land bank meeting to order. Just give me a hard time.
These are the ones you wrote letters to.
This list is.
This is my list.
Oh, okay.
This is
I
my
saw
list.
junk in there.
This is what I know that, so I've been in contact with one of them that has pretty much gathered everybody up to help clean up houses. This is the properties we discussed. John Falk's got one, the next, on 2nd Street, right by our 420.
Is that the one that we didn't go look at that's across the street?
No,
It's
this
next
is,
to it.
it's next to it.
So
Oh,
these
so
are
there's
houses.
2 on the south side now.
We own one, and then John Falk owns one to the west of it.
These are all houses the city does not own.
Well,
The city owns everything
Damn.
on 2nd.
Oh, yeah.
The address, all 5 of the address ones are the ones the city owns.
Yes.
Now, I was talking to Bob. He rattled off a whole list of people that are still willing to help. It's gonna be probably weekends. But he wanted to include, because John Falk's got a house, Kyle Bunker's got a house. He had mentioned, Bob had offered to help David Luckenby clean his up. Well, it's not really getting there. Bob said if we're gonna do this, he said, I want anything that's been started, he said, I want us to go together as a team and get it all cleaned up. The First Street and West Street, the one property that they tore the building down, but all that concrete's still there. You know, pick it up, haul it off. We're gonna be cleaning up concrete anyway. It kinda looks bad, haul some dirt back in, fill it in, level it out, be done with it. Cause it hasn't, since they done that and piled it all up, that's how it's set. And it's gonna sit like that for the next 10 years, I'm sure.
Well, they didn't pay, that's the reason.
Maybe so, but you know, it's just one of them
Right.
things.
No, I know, I'm just saying.
So is this Luckenby the same one that threw the meat in the?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
makes a lot of sense to me.
I went over and got the form from the county, and I'm gonna, if you guys are fine with it, I mean, I can get with Jamie, I'll fill out all the paperwork for the free dumping, but I'm gonna ask for some lenience from the county, cause they have a requirement of 4 weeks to get this done. After you assign a
When
start
you
date.
submit this,
When you submit it, you
then we
have
get to pick the start date?
we get to pick the start date, but you only have 4 weeks, but if you're only working on weekends, you may not get it all done,
And then we have to start over.
and then we have to start over. But it also, the other thing is it creates a problem because the dump's not really open on weekends.
Surely we could pull something with Darren.
And that's why I was gonna, I mean, if you guys are all right with it, I told Bob, Bob said, don't ask me to get involved in doing the paperwork, and he said, I'll help bring everybody together and get it done, but he said, I'm not doing the paperwork, and I told him, I said I'd take care of it.
Oh, okay, just to go, so you're wanting to tear down houses owned by other people, not just the land bank?
But
Not
it's
the
not
city.
the city. It's
This
the
is a group
volunteer
of people that are volunteering to help the city tear down our properties and these other properties.
Okay, so as
Yeah,
long as.
there's gonna be
as
no
long
city
as-
equipment involved.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
Not unless you guys want it.
I don't want some stray interest owner of one of these other houses to come back and, on the city saying you took out my house. So that's my concern.
Well, one of them,
Luckenby's might be that one.
well,
Cause who knows what the chain of title is for some of these things.
I don't know on these two, that's why there's question marks on them. That was his suggestion.
Okay.
I'm
I'm most concerned about First and West Street because there's no value to anything.
Are you nervous?
Oh, my clicking, my.
right,
I can
Um,
hear it.
yeah,
I can
First
see
and
if
West
you're
Street,
deaf, you can't
there's
hear
nothing
it.
there, I mean, it would, it's more so I think I could approach them and say, hey, you know, we've got some volunteers that are gonna clean up some properties. Would you like for us to go ahead and clean up the concrete?
Okay, we could certainly throw something together really fast that says you're agreeing to have this
Right,
done and
the other
you're not
one's
gonna
gonna
hold
be a
us
council
responsible
member.
for,
The other one at the bottom of the list is gonna be a council member in January,
okay.
Kyle, so,
And it was bought at a tax sale, so.
yeah. And really, it doesn't matter right now, any property in Stafford County, even if you own it and you wanna tear it down and haul it out there, you submit one of them forms, they'll waive the dump fees on it, whether it was bought at tax
That's
auction
what they
or
do
not.
instead of requiring a bond then.
Mm.
They can keep track of things that way.
So, the other thing is I was approached by Economic Development, wanting to know the status of what we were gonna do with these properties and how we were gonna get rid of them. Whether we were going to, John, how was it drawn up? There was, you had to apply an application process for,
Yeah, I don't, is it on the website?
Isn't that
I
what we
don't
did
know if it's
last
on the,
time?
it's.
I don't, that one, you guys, that house that was donated,
Right,
you done it right before I come on.
okay.
And the only, you guys can do whatever you want, that's how the land bank's set up, but the purpose for the application is kind of to gather information. It has requirements for submission of drawings and what you're gonna do with the property, that kind of thing. For an empty lot, corner lot or something like that, you're less concerned about, but
Right. Well, I just know that Carolyn had talked to me. She wanted to know how it was gonna work. And she also wanted to know if the land bank was interested if she wrote grants for housing in St. John. If that would be something that the land bank would donate property to. Because it helps on the grant side of it if they have property that's being held that's available basically as an in-kind towards the program or towards the grant. I told her, I said I couldn't really speak for everybody because I don't know. You know, I said I don't know if it's one of them things that when she gets ready to write the grant, whether she comes in and says, I would like to know if this, and this property that city owns is available for me if I get the grant.
I guess I'm in favor of a house going back there, where we tear down the house for sure. I don't want so someone's gonna keep it empty and then nobody else will go.
Well, and that's what I told her. I said, you know, I said, me personally, I wouldn't have a problem donating a piece of ground or 2 pieces of ground contingent that you get the grant. If you don't get the grant, you don't own it. You know, I mean, it's, you know, I said that would have to be known up front that, yes, you can put it in your grant, but we will hold that piece of property until you receive a yay or a nay on the grant. You know, rather than, she was more concerned about if we said, yes, we have 2 properties you can build on if you get the grant, and someone coming in and saying, well, we want to buy that piece of property, and her losing it, and then it looks bad on her end of the grant.
I mean, you can agree to hold it for 2 years or however.
Right.
long.
Yeah, that's
You know.
right. I don't see that being a problem.
And I just told her, I said,
We're a
well,
little
we
ways
could.
from that, but yeah.
Right, but I think she said that, and I should have wrote the date down, but I was driving down the highway, but sometime the 1st of next year is when she can apply for the grant. February, March, somewhere in there, I think. And then she wouldn't know anything until the end of the year, I think October or November.
I will say that I wrote this thing like 5 years ago.
I was gonna say it was before I got on it.
So it's up to date.
Well, I don't even remember what's in it. But it was adopted from another city's.
Do we need to change stuff in there, John, or, I mean, are we free to do as we please?
You're pretty much free to do as you please. I think this started because you had a house that was donated to the city by a bank that maybe had foreclosed on it. And it was probably just signed over to the bank by the owner. I think the city even went through and put a new roof on it or something, and then.
Well, I think the insurance company gave the city the money for the roof. They had to pay for the labor.
Exactly.
Okay. And
Because it was
we went through
insurance
this
or
process, there were several submissions or a couple of landlords that wanted the property used as
Yes,
a rental
I've got-
property.
4 copies.
No, that's that long. I think. Did it print out?
Front and back, I don't,
Yeah.
Okay.
4 pages and then a fifth here on the application.
The page numbers are at the
It
bottom.
reads pretty much like the land bank's in control of everything, and then we draw up the agreements, and both parties are amenable to it.
I guess it does state in there. I don't know what non-buildable land bank properties are.
That would be like, you hear stories about people buying properties at a tax auction, and they're just like the gutters between the 2 houses, and they're little we had a piece that sold in Pratt that was a triangle.
That was
piece
actually
that somebody
mine
at one
all
point had a
along.
tower on, stuff like that. That unless you're good at reading legal descriptions, you really don't know what you're buying.
It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I guess I'm not opposed to it.
I think John's right on the tearing stuff down. We gotta tread light about, or be aware of adding to that list and who gets added and who doesn't. And
Right.
making it aware, I mean, that could be a little, I
Well,
don't know, I don't wanna say awkward or sticky.
We just have situations that we've dealt with in the past where the person that is in possession of the house is only one of
Right.
6 siblings
Right.
that actually own that house.
That's just a lot easier to write them on a list than just, drag the excavator over there and haul all of it off.
So basically what you're saying is, we just need to stick to the properties that the city owns, and then if this group of people
I don't
that
care
wanna
what
tear
they
down a
do.
house, then they can contact these people and say, hey,
Well,
while we're at it.
I think like
everything
the first one is one of them that's willing to help
Right.
be part of it.
Right.
He owns a house.
I'm sure.
And you
Kyle
know,
is-
Kyle's one too that, I mean, because Bob had told me, he said last time he talked to Chad, Chad was all in favor for helping. And
Yeah, there was a house, and I think this may have been before Jamie was around, that we were LaDonna had me looking into, or maybe it was even before her. It needed to go through probate, and there were all kinds of issues, and I don't know if it was abandoned or
well, it's probably the one that finally got donated to the city, the one on West Second.
maybe. I just remember it not being worth even messing with. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
But I guess those are the biggest questions, as far as how, which if we're gonna follow that, I'll just give a copy of this to Carolyn and say, if you're interested in properties, you need to just come talk to us. And I mean, are you guys okay with me filling out the paperwork for our city-owned properties and
Yep.
lining the stuff up with the commissioners and the rest of the
Yeah.
people?
Yeah, let's go for it.
I think that's fine.
I mean, I
As
told
long
them.
as you set a date is when we start, I mean, who knows when that's gonna be.
Right, and that's why, down here at the bottom, we kind of talked about mid-January.
Right.
Get through the holidays and get everybody kind of caught up on everything else, and then
Weekends.
Okay.
first of the year and do it on the weekends. And anybody that's willing to help, just jump right in.
So the Luckenby property, what obstacles are we looking at that?
Well, so here's, and this is what
the
Bob,
house is already down.
well, but the one house is, the underground house is still there.
Someone's living there.
I thought he was tearing it down as well.
There was some report of squatters last when he was gone.
Yes.
In one of his houses.
Yeah.
That they
He had
to
someone living there
kick out.
last I knew, and that's where the freezers came from, full of meat that had been there for 3
All
years.
I know is Bob told me that he had offered his equipment
Mhm.
and help Luckenby get that stuff cleaned up,
Right.
under the condition that both houses went. And so Bob just had told me today when I was talking to him again, that he said that might be one of them that we also go over and finish doing. That's all he said.
So pick up the north house that's in Rubbles.
Yeah,
Who's the sheriff deputy that works part-time?
David
David was the one that kicked somebody out of the houses. One of the houses.
gave him no trespass.
Yeah.
He had
One of our
someone
frequent
living.
flyers. I think. But,
Yeah.
and maybe by this time, Jamie has some other people that are upset and they wanna get rid of houses to the land bank.
But basically, it just needs to be talked about throughout the people that are tearing these houses down. Are you gonna go help Luckenby? I mean, the city really, they're not using any equipment from the city,
Right.
so.
We're just
Right.
using
I mean,
the volunteers.
This is just a group of volunteers we're,
The only
Right,
thing I
spreading
would
the
say
word
is if we
publicly.
needed more help on our own properties that we own, if we need help, I mean, the city guys could help do some of that. If they go in and tear all the houses down and need the concrete hauled out of there, the city guys could load that stuff up in our dump trucks and haul it out west town.
I would almost say, if the group of volunteers goes on a weekend, they get all that they can get, and maybe there's some that can be done
Maybe it
during the
needs to be
week
done
instead
during the,
of,
that's what I'm saying, on
making the
our
guys come down
properties.
on the weekend.
Right,
Is that what you're thinking?
that's what I was thinking, if they, even if they get all the concrete hauled out and they just need some dirt hauled in and leveled up and cleaned
Right.
up,
Yeah, that
our
could be
city
done-
crew could do
Yeah,
that
that could be
stuff
done during the weekday.
during the week.
Right.
on the addressed properties.
On on
Right.
land bank owned properties.
I don't want to see on any other properties.
Right.
Fair enough.
Sounds good to me.
Yep.
And I think that's all I had for the land bank. Unless somebody else has anything.
Sounds like a plan. I think this is stuff that you guys try to do
So,
forever.
I guess I need a meeting to adjourn the land bank meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor? All opposed? Carries. Meeting adjourned.
All right. Reopen this regular city council meeting at 7:55. We have an executive session, Jamie, for 10 minutes. Who do you want in there?
The table and president-elect, council member-elect, Kyle Bunker.
Okay, so,
Everyone in the room,
okay. have a motion.
Non-elected personnel,
non-elected personnel.
okay, defer to you.
What?
So I'll defer to you, inviting other people to like executive session.
Do what?
Nothing,
So
nothing.
moved.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. We'll resume at 8:06. Call the session back into order. Jamie, you need another 15 minutes, another executive session, keeping the same people in it.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. We'll resume at 8:21. Session for how long?
15.
For 15 minutes. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. We'll resume at 8:36.
I failed my
Call this
1 hour
meeting back to
Bluetooth test.
order. I request another 10-minute
So I get to
executive
come
session
back
to
for 3
include the
hours.
same people as before.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. We'll resume at 8:46. Meeting back into session. Having taken no action during the executive session, or is there any more business for this evening? If not, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries.
He's like,